is over. The time to win is now. Win Liberia, in collaboration with Love FM, present the Big Show raffle draw nationwide for just $250 or $1.50 United States dollars. You can win a full package that contains 48-inch smart TV, 4 months of data package of your choice, and 4 months of Netflix account. Dial 255 star 45 hash. Again, dial 255 star 45 hash. The more you play, the better your chances to win. The raffle draw runs from now to the 31st of July 2025. The first draw is August 1, 2025. Don't miss out. For more information about the raffle draw, call 231 886 946151 or 231 778 249053. Working hours runs from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. And on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. It's the Big Show raffle draw nationwide. You can play for just $250 or $1.50 United States dollar and win big. This is Love Radio 151 today. We are thanks to Cinco, right in the technology building. We broadcast information, education, entertainment, spread as good and spirited. Deliverables right here on your favorite dial. Well, my name is Rufus Divine Conan. I'm pretty seated. Now, as usual, we normally talk about business issues, but on a side note, we are going to discuss the life of a fallen sister, a mother, philanthropist, a beauty queen. Humanitarian. You just go about talking all of those good things about the person we are about to actually utilize this wonderful hour. We are in the diaspora. I would say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time is. We are here with Big Tony, by wonderful women who have shared a life story and who have made um, a contribution, exchange of ideas, what their life, let issues, the little anti COVID. Intelligence is no more. We are remembering her today with a very special edition of the program. Business Talk. These wonderful women will be talking about what they know, their interaction, and until now. We are information next month, the first third week is marking our another so it's calling my human interaction at work. It's emotional at this moment. We can brace this up now do what to do. So if you're out there, share the show, call a friend, tell a friend the links are all up onto listen. We have the radio, online radio, the links are out there. We want to follow us. We have the television of TV Live. We also have the link up here. So we have wonderful Liberian women who's going to be talking about their own sister, their friend, a mother, a colleague. Welcome, wonderful, wonderful people. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, His grace is always sufficient for thee. So we gonna be. Should I start from my left to my right, or whatever it is? You can kindly introduce yourselves and where you're joining us from, and we move on. So who can begin first?
I can go first. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nori, um, coming in from Texas this morning. And I was a good friend of the Queen's, and we miss her very much. Um, yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Who's next?
I'll go next. My name is Renee, and I'm also coming in from Houston, well, area, Cypress, Texas. And Philetta was a dear friend to me, and she's truly missed.
You have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself. Just go to the unmute button there. Um, so while she's trying to, if you are prepared, you can just go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. This is a tough moment. I'm Helena Washington. I'm Phil's cousin here in the Houston area, the greater Houston area. And I said some prayers this morning to get through as we celebrate um, her warm spirit, her loving heart, um, and let the world know what she meant to all of us in our communities.
And my name is Weddy. I am Phil's. We were more than best friends. We were sisters, and uh, we met on the refugee camp in Ghana, and it was just a friendship that was meant to be. And I miss her so much. It's just surreal that she's not here with us. And I'm glad that we're here to celebrate her today.
Okay, it's good, folks. You heard for yourself. Individually, they just introduce themselves, and like we said, we're going to be chit chatting, talking about our memories, the best memories of our fallen mother and their friend, colleague. So if you're out there, share the show. We will actually pin on the screen the numbers for you to participate. If you're in the diaspora and wanting to actually call in, there will be a time here for that you will call in and express your own condolences and best memories. So it's good to be here with you all. And I'm Rufus. You introduce yourselves. So I'm Rufus Divine Cannon, of course, the station manager of Love FM and Love TV. And my own, let me begin with my own interaction with the late Mrs. Phillips. Uh, we began from the phone conversation. She came to Liberia late last year in December. We had a great time interacting. She's someone who was actually a down to earth kind of person. She was the listening kind of person, always willing to listen. Whether you were talking something that did not make sense at the time, but she will give you the time that you express whatever you had to express and whatever input she had to make at that time, she would definitely do and create the laughter, always smiling. That's just who I know her to be, even more than. And Mr. Phillips, who is my mentor and senior brother, I got to know him through our business interaction. And since then, he has been more than even a business partner, more than a senior brother. He is my mentor. So the entire family Mr. and Mrs. Phillips have made a great impact in my life. You know, at one point in time, I said to him, yes, I love the way in which you actually, before you do your thing, there will be no day that Mr. Phillips asks him to do something, he doesn't consult his wife. Oh, he always reaching out. Rufus, my man, wait. Let me consult the madam. Let me consult the queen. I will get back to you.
Yeah.
When that is done, you say, okay, the queen has agreed, or the queen said we should put it on the hold. And when you get to her, she said, wait, let me consult your dad, the king. When I know how to play around it, don't worry, it will be okay. So that's the interaction we've been having. So I was kind of broken when I got the information that Faithful Moini, when he called me, he said, well, my queen is no more. I broke down in tears. So that's just how it been, and it's troubling actually. People can say good people can live long. I don't know why, but anyway, she lived a fulfilling life. Yes, I must say that for the very short period of time, she lived a life that was touching every spectrum of our society, making sure to transform um, the worst to best. I just want to know about. So you can go ahead.
Rufus, FY is still waiting backstage to be let in. She's been waiting for a while.
Oh, but she's I'm not seeing. You see what is here?
And
So her
she
camera,
just messaged in the chat as well.
yeah, her camera is off. Her camera is off.
Mm.
I must apologize for that, but her camera is off. So she need to check her settings and then come back in. Yeah, she needs to check the settings because her camera is off. So we can continue to do our own talking, the best memories, the fun, the laughter. It's just all about that today. Who's getting the ball rolling? I did mine. So can we?
I mean, the the biggest shock I think for everybody who knew the Queen was that she was so full of life and laughter and light, and she had so much ahead of her. And these, and of course, she's our friend, she's our family, and we care, but she had such a wide impact that goes far beyond um, anybody that I know, really. Uh, she's it's crazy how young she was and how much she filled her time and made everybody around her know that they're loved. She's truly going to be missed.
Who's in? Yeah,
Phil,
let's just. Uh huh.
Phil was, like I said, she was my friend, but she was my hot sister. That's what she called me. And I'm truly gonna miss her. She just was an inspiration in my life and an inspiration in so many people's lives. And one thing about Phil, she just brought people together. And that was her mission, was to just unite people together. And she just had a beautiful spirit and soul, and she just was one of a kind. And this news is really, it hit us all hard because we wasn't expecting it. And one thing I can say is that she has blessed me so many ways, and I don't even know if she even knew it, how much she really blessed me and just poured into me at a time when I didn't even know that I needed it when I met her. But I'm a misser. Whew. Sorry.
I don't know where to start with the stories. When I met Phil, my mom had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had to leave campus. I was in school in Ghana, and I had to leave campus to come down to help my mom. And my brother was on the camp at the time, the refugee camp in Ghana, Butuburum, Godwin Williams. And Godwin was putting together a mass choir because he used to like to sing. So he had brought me to camp for me to join the choir. And that's where I met Phil. And we just hit it off. I mean, it wasn't something to think about. Phil and I just became instant friends. We later on became members of a group that he put together called the Ladies of Zion. And we did a cappella music. And I mean, we were supposed to be refugees and struggling in Ghana at the time. But we just took that opportunity to give God the glory. We performed in churches all over Ghana. We went to embassies. We performed at birthday parties, at Christmas. We were performing. And we were the counter group for the Knights of Zion, which was an all boys group. But we were all girls a cappella group, singing bass, every note for the a cappella group. And that's where we hit it off. I mean, Phil was one of those people. Phil was always lively. Every time there was something that, and she always wanted to learn. She was always eager to learn. You go into camp, sometimes you see Phil, she's dressed up in a hat she got a hammer in her hand. She's hammering things down with the boys. She's learning how to do carpentry. She's learning how to do hair. She's learning how to sew. She was always that person, that eager, fun-loving person, always full of life, and we eventually matriculated on this side of the world. I went to Canada, she came to America. And eventually I joined her. I came to America. We've raised our families together. I mean, I can just go on and on. Phil was she was the sister that I never had. And trust me, I had over 10 sisters. But Phil was one of those that just filled in so many parts of my life. And I can't believe that I'm going to have to go on without her, Just when we were celebrating her birthday the other day, we were talking about how our suffering days are over, This is where we're going to just glide in our next couple of years that we have on earth. And we're going to travel the world and just enjoy our lives. So it's hard that she's gone, but what keeps me hopeful is that I was listening to this message the other day, and Dr. Miles Monroe, he talked about we pray for long life. We all want long life, but what is long life if you're going to be spending it in the hospital beds? And Phil was so full of life. This is not where she was supposed to be. And he said, you shouldn't be praying for long life. You should be praying for a purpose-driven life. Because when you have fulfilled your purpose on this earth, there's no point of you staying here. He said, if long life is all, if it was all the blessings and the guarantee or whatsoever, then think about Jesus. Jesus died when he was 33 years old. But on the cross, what did Jesus say? It is finished. I have come and fulfilled the purpose that I was here for. And I think Phil has fulfilled her purpose. Phil has touched so many hearts all over the world. I mean, since Phil departed, there is never a day you can go on Facebook and not see somebody posting about Phil, how she has touched him. She has. I used to say she would fill up place. When Phil enters somewhere, she fills it up. Everyone would know that Phil is there. That's the kind of energy, that's the kind of love that she brought when she came along. And she filled so many hearts. She touched so many of us. And we're just grateful that she was a part of our lives. You know I'm grateful that Phil was a part. Phil was a part of my life. Amen. I'll turn it over to someone else.
Last night, this morning, I didn't know if I could do this. And Wendy, I don't know you except from that time when I heard you all do your acapella. And I remember Phil when she would do my hair, when we would talk, and she would share her stories about the refugee camp. I remember when you say she likes to learn. You know, I posted, it took me a while to post anything just because I couldn't. And with the difficulties in sleeping, my post came in the middle of the night. That's when I, and I highlighted her voice, the fun, the energy, her spirit, so that people could see the impact that she had on all of us. Cousin Phil, Auntie Phil, as my children would call her, she had a heart like no one else. And she gave just last night, hearing the range of love that she would give unexpectedly, not wanting anything in return, uplifting, supporting. We had some conversations where, need to be held accountable. We could talk about the good times, but we had some of those conversations. And please bear with me. I didn't know if I could even get on here. I'm doing the best I can. I think we all are. Because she meant so much to so many in so many different ways. But it all comes back to her heart. It all comes back to her spirit. It all comes back to her purpose. These tentacles of how we're connected to her. It all comes back to those three things. And this week, I spent a lot of time hearing her voice. I could hear her laugh. And when as I look at you, I see her. When I look at Fifi last night, when we were together, I could see her. Renee, to see you at the house last week, that tentacle. That's the body and all the tentacles that just reach and engulf and embrace all of us and pull us together. FY is the big sister with wisdom, with kindness, with love. She pulled together an amazing program. And Phil was one of the guest speakers. I was there, and the foolishness outside of the seriousness that we shared that day epitomizes the sisterhood. It epitomizes, I people who hear me speak a lot, I don't like to talk about balance because something's always imbalanced. And we strive so hard to maintain that balance. I like to talk about harmony, how things flow together like the waves in the ocean. Some are, they ebb and flow, big and small, but they flow the way they're supposed to flow without worrying if they're balanced. Does that make sense? That day, and I bring that day up because FY is here, and it was a wonderful opportunity to celebrate women. I just think back to every experience, every opportunity, every presentation, every event, her kindness, her spirit. That is why we're seeing all those posts. Phil touched people all over the world. That is why we're hearing. That is why you see the tears. I thought I could get through that without this, but this is what it is. This is what it is. Nora, I don't have the pleasure of having a relationship, but through Phil's connection, I see you. And whatever she brought to your life, please hold on to it. I know the impact with everyone here. She shared so many stories about coming to America. I've interacted with her, with everyone here, except you. But I want to say, whatever memories, whatever peace, whatever love she gave you, please hold on to it. Please hold on to it. And I'll slow down now. I'll stop. I just wanted to share that. I'm not sure if I'll say a lot more, but I needed that piece. This is painful. I've had some significant losses. 1, 2, 3. This is number 4 in my 53 years. This is painful. For over a week, I didn't think it was real. It was hard to fathom. I've heard my friends' voices crying on the phone, tears. They didn't have to say anything. I could hear the pain coming through their voices. This is painful for all those people who are connected to all those different tentacles where she has brought all of us together. This is painful. But we're going to celebrate today. Thank you. Rufus, you're on mute if you're saying something.
Rufus, you're muted.
Okay. Say what? You are next in line.
Yeah, so good morning to all my little sisters, because you're all little. And to you, Rufus, I did something with my laptop camera. I finally figured it out. So I'm Efwa Karua McGowan. Karua is my maiden name. And I like to share that I met Phil at the crossroads of community and corporate. I say that because I had been in Houston for a little bit, but life got so busy. I was raising a family and I really had not gotten engaged with the community. And I was invited, I graduated from Cuttington University, and a couple of the guys, one being my cousin, pulled me in and we were doing some function. And in doing that function, it was a lot of guys planning the function, and it just didn't sound right. And I think it was Hosani and Adele, the two guys, and I said, that sounds pretty boring. I mean, I'm very opinionated. And they said, okay, we're going to introduce you to somebody. And they introduced me to Phil. And I say the rest is history because she was building her empire. I was fortunate to be in corporate America and was able to lend a lens to her as she built. And she likes to tell people I helped create her first profile. But our relationship really went just a whole spectrum. One moment we could be friends, the next moment we almost had a mother-daughter relationship. She had two girls, I had two girls. My girls are a little older than hers, and we asked and challenged each other how these girls were turning out and how to manage the complex relationship that is a mother-daughter, because mothers are always on the receiving end of the anger of children. And being that I was a few steps ahead, I gave her my perspective and shared with her that, the traditional ways that we've known growing up as girls in Liberia had to reflect the times that that we're in a different world, and we had to take into consideration the culture we found ourselves. And it was a challenge because we knew that the things of yesteryears had taught us to be resilient women, and we found ourselves in this new world of having to raise girls. So that was quite a bit of conversation that we had. And then we had this corporate business approach. I will say this, as a group of people finding ourselves uprooted, I would say really when we were becoming young professionals and having to reinvent ourselves, and I heard Wade talk about the things that we did, we really had to redefine who we're going to be. And that was no different when I met her here. But the one thing we were very, very aligned with, that we were not going to let the noise distract us from our purpose. We were never going to allow the noise. And we recognized that the distraction that often came in the way of building a business was nothing but the insecurities of others. And honestly, we laugh quite a bit about that. But when Phil told me, yes, she did tell me about the situation, I also had my blood sister who was battling another kind of battle. A lot of times people think in terms of not wanting to burden you, but our relationship was not about a burden. It was about shared experience because we knew how to support each other. And she knew it wouldn't be a burden. Rather, it would offer an opportunity to give her that support without anything of a pity party. And to me, bottom line, it was a trust. It was a trust. I still remember when she pulled me outside and told me and you then became the keeper of something. The only time we ever talked about the situation was when she was preparing for tests, and we always found something fun to do. So I wasn't one you always see very visible because of the last few years I was back and forth in Africa supporting my sister who eventually passed. But the times that we spent was so enriching, and there were always lessons learned in those moments. For me, uh, death or transition, I've come to learn that the soul has escaped from this imperfect body. As hard as it is not to have her physically around and laugh and touch and do those things that we're used to doing, I'm convinced that she's around, and she's around through the stories that we will continue to tell, through her amazing children that she's left. And so the opportunity just to share a reflection of someone who was so complex but yet so transparent is an honor. And I thank each and every one of us for being able to do this. I know there's a whole lot more who could be doing this, and I know it's been hard for some, but we have to take on the challenge to speak of the woman who had such a way to make everybody feel special and unique. So thank you.
I have to just chime in really quickly. When I went on Facebook to try to share or put the link up, the first memory was an event that she did. Her flyer, just today. That one night in Liberia. That's what she titled. It's 7 years ago. That is what I'm looking at right here. She I don't know, just when I look at, we're celebrating and all the productions that she did. Behind those productions, Phil gave to so many. She gave to so many young people. She collaborated to give people a platform, to share the stage with them, to uplift their spirits, to let them shine alongside her. Phil would give people things from her shop. Before she had the shop on West Little York, Phil was always just giving. She just gave. And she also had rules. She got mad with me with one of the rules. I followed her rules because I know when people would come to me with certain things, you have to have boundaries. Phil used to always tell me, do not send anybody to me last minute to sew last minute. Don't do it. Because I was good. Can I send so-and-so to you? Can this person do this? My niece came to visit from Ohio, Nori. And Nori needed a dress for homecoming. And everything became urgent. So she ended up seeing, she said, I'm going to just go to Harwin because she just needed to get a dress and go back. No planning. We didn't have a conversation about anything. So Nori and my mom ended up going by the shop to see Phil. So Phil calls me. Why didn't you tell me Nori needed a dress? You have a rule. Nori was going right back to Ohio. You have a rule Do not send people to me last minute to sew a design, because Phil doesn't like to sew in pieces. She didn't like to sew in pieces. And I said, you the one that told me don't send people to you last minute, because I was good for doing stuff like that. Call my cousin, call Phil, call this. When she used to have the cards, I had a stack of her business cards in my car. I kept them on me. They were in my bag and they were in my car. And then she had the ones for the back to school. And I would give them out to people, share them, leave them in different places. So when Nori came, Nori said, I think Auntie Phil is going to be mad at you. I'm like, when she told me, don't send people, you're leaving. I'm not sending you over there to sew a dress in 5 minutes. But, and we had a talk. I said, I would never not, and I said, Phil, she's like, yeah, but that's different. Okay, you want me to follow your rules or you don't want me to follow your rules? Which one is it? So I share that story, there's a young lady that is with me, and we had some ups and downs with her prom dress. We didn't know if it was going to make it on time. And I said, Phil, can we get a dress? Something. We didn't know if it was going to fit her or anything. We were in and out of the shop. Finally, the dress came because we were worried about it fitting her. We were worried about it, alterations. So I took my grandchildren separately to different visits to go see Phil. And the last visit to the shop, right before prom, I had my grandson. It was just Phil, myself, and my grandson, who was 20 months old. And just the interaction with them, my granddaughter, my grandson, and Phil, Nana, we'll call her Nana, because that's what Jaja calls her granddaughter. She's looking for her Nana right now. I asked Kuma last night. She's still asking for her Nana. Where's her Nana? But just, I know I'm at this point kind of rambling. It's just the memories, the last few interactions. We FaceTimed. We text. Unbeknownst. The FaceTime, I remember one of the FaceTimes before she went into the hospital. She was laying in bed. She was taking a nap, and the kids were there, and the grandkids. They were in her room. And she had on a lounge outfit, and we were just talking and just laughing and having fun and talking about being a grandparent. And the lack of boundaries we may have in that role, in that new season of our lives, having our grandchildren, because I teased her when her older daughter had her son. I said, you trying to catch up with me? We laughed. But that was our new season, being grandmothers and being fabulous grandmothers. I used to joke with Phil when we would talk. I would tell her, you need to respect your elders. I'm older than you. Not by much, but I always, she's taller than me. I'm only 5'5". But she would look at me. She's like, really? And she would look at me with her height. I'm like, you need to respect your elders. I'm the eldest one here, by a couple years. But as we celebrate her life, her loving husband is calling it her final production. And that's what it warrants, a production, because that is Phil. That is Phil. That is Phil. Phil had fashion shows where The people she brought together. 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 She is bringing us all together again in her final production. The people she brought together. Thank y'all for allowing me to ramble for a little bit.
It's okay. I wanted to talk when you talk about her giving her just that spirit that Phil will give you the shirt off her back. That's the kind of person she was. I remember she had on her 10th anniversary when she and Al did the big wedding ceremony with the white gown and whatsoever. They had said that every 10 years they were going to celebrate, and I think when the 20th came, it was COVID and all that stuff. So she had planned to do the 25th. And the 25th happened to fall on it was my 50th birthday. And because of that, Phil said, I'm going to postpone it. I'm going to hold off mine and we're going to go and celebrate your wedding. And so she and I had a couple of my best girlfriends. We just took off and we went to Jamaica and we had such a blast. And she said, you know what? Next year, we're going to celebrate the 26th. And so we said, okay, we'll celebrate the 26th because we're going to celebrate the 25th. And the 26th year came and she turned to me, she said, listen, Weddy, we've all done our big wedding gowns and whatsoever, because when we all got married, we just went to the courthouse and just got married, and we were waiting for our time for us to, we said every little girl needs to wear her white dress. That's what we used to say. Every little girl has to wear her white dress. And everyone had that time. Everyone's getting in their white dresses. And I had made it to 20 years and I was still not in my white dress. And 26th year again, Phil looked at me and she said, Weddy, you know what? This year you are going to wear your white dress and we're going to make it happen. She said, I'm going to put mine off for another year because we want to celebrate you. And I tell you, for my 20th anniversary, we had this big ceremony we had planned, and my sister had sent the dress from Africa, and she sent me this gorgeous blue dress that I was supposed to change out of my, out of your wedding dress. When you go to the occasion, to the after party, you're supposed to wear your traditional African outfit and whatsoever. But when the dress came, I put it on, and the dress was big and the dress was long. And I was so frustrated. I stood there and I took a picture of myself in the dress and I sent it to Phil and I sent it to my brother because my brother sews as well. And I said, I need help. I said, I won't be able to wear this dress because I need stitching here and what have you. And I showed them all the different stuff. And both of them told me, Weddy, you cannot send us the dress. You have to look for a local person to to fix the dress for you. So I was kind of disappointed, but I decided, okay, it was last minute, so I had to do something. So I phoned a local tailor, and I took the dress to him. And 2 days before the ceremony, the guy sent me the dress back. I took the dress and I put the dress on, and it seemed like nothing, absolutely nothing was done to that dress. I took the dress off and I called Phil and I was almost in tears. And I said, Phil, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's 2 days to my ceremony and I don't know what I'm going to do. And Phil started laughing. And she started laughing at me and she told me, I said, I don't know what you're laughing about because I don't know what I'm going to do. This is the only dress I have to wear. And she told me, she said, Weddy, I got you. I got you. And that was all she said. Whatever it meant, I just knew I could trust her. Phil showed up a day before the ceremony. Phil had sewn an outfit for me and for my husband for our ceremony. I didn't even try the dress on. I didn't. We went to the ceremony the next day. In between the church and the hall, we got to the hall, walked in, and then we went to the bathroom. And that was the first time I put that dress on. And it fitted me like glove. Like I don't know what it was that felt, I don't know what she used to do my measurement or what have you, but that dress fitted me like, I don't know. I wish you could go to my Facebook page and see my white dress. She sold the hats that we were supposed to wear. I had even gone to buy the fans, those big African fans. I had gotten the gold fans to go with our outfits. Phil has sat down and created a blue and white fan for each member of my group. I mean, she was so down to the detail. When she was ready to come, in fact, she had taken pictures of luggages. She had so many different luggages she had packed because she was bringing all of these things that she never told me about. But that's the kind of person Phil was, And I mean, all my friends were saying how Phil came and it was just effortless. It was just like secondhand what she was doing. And I appreciated her so much. And so we didn't do the 26th. So we decided to celebrate the 27th. And I remember people saying, why will you celebrate 27 years? Why can't you just wait to 30? I am so glad that we celebrated 27 because August was supposed to make it 28. Oh, September was supposed to make it 28. And she didn't even make it to 28. But we were there to celebrate her for her 27th anniversary. And boy, did she put up a show. Phil sold for every one of us. Every one of us had matching outfits that fit Phil made. I mean, we were like local celebrities at that hotel. You can ask Renee. Local celebrities. People wanted to just take pictures with us. We had a tea party. We had an African day. We had a day on the yacht. We had, I mean, you just name it. We just had so much fun. And I'm so glad that I was a part of that to celebrate her. And I hope that when we come together this weekend in August, we can just celebrate Phil and just give God the glory for giving our gift to each one of us that we can celebrate her. Amen.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. So you talking about that just brings to mind her generosity. So I said she brought us together, right? And the very first event, we decided to have a fashion show. I don't think really anyone had done that in any of our community groups. And I loved the idea, but I started thinking, where are we going to get the clothes from? Lo and behold, who appears with racks, literally, and suitcases of different clothes? Because we had all these multicultural women. I worked at Chase then, and I believe in the diversity of everything we do. And she brought those clothes. Young ladies were trying on clothes, and people get careless. Clothes were everywhere, and sadly, people were stepping on the clothes. Now, someone else would be upset, annoyed, and all of that. And I'm trying to grab stuff off the floor, and Phil goes, Efra, you better leave that and go and see about something else, Don't worry about this. She understood the moment, and she truly did not sweat the small stuff. And I look back at one of the pictures of our very first models, and I think one of my daughters that was probably 12 or 13. I mean, so from a very early age, she believed in doing things that really customized the personality of each person in there, but just her generosity. And she always felt that can be taken care of. Let's take care of what needs to be. We are here to create a production that people will want to support what we're doing. So a lot of our work was about doing things to help organizations. And I think I heard a few people mention that. And she has always supported everything that I do organizationally, not only with the Liberian Association, Ebola. We were there and we're out there. We raised funds. I mean, every crisis that we've had as an organization here in Houston, all you had to do was to tap her and let her know what you needed from her. And I think Helena, during the flood, when we were boxing things, she was, and we had everything at Helena's house, and we had all our kids dedicated to doing that. But she was the person who I won't be there physically, but this is what I can do. We only had to give her her assignment, whether it was making purchases and bringing it to us. You would see her in front, but she did a whole lot behind the scenes that no one ever got to see. No one ever got to see. So as we celebrate her, I think about just what a generous person. Never got herself caught up in the division that often happens, when communities cannot get it together. So I'm going to miss that part about her.
I just want to say, when Weddy and both of y'all were talking, I could hear Phil saying, "You worrying about the wrong things. You worrying about the wrong things." She always said that. Phil was so selfless, and she just really had I never seen Phil upset. Never. Never seen her upset. She was always smiling, even through the cancer, the going to chemo, even at chemo. She always just had that personality that is contagious. She had a contagious personality, and her laugh, and I'm just gonna miss everything about her. I mean, she just was a true queen, and she was a woman of God, and she loved, and when she loved you, and it was nothing fake about her. She loved hard. And when I met Phil, I met her at the shop, and I had just lost my husband, went through COVID, and I had cancer. And we were just talking, and I know when she got diagnosed, I'm like, okay, that's why God connected us, because he knew. But I am so glad that God connected me to her. And I only known her for 3 years, but it felt like I have known Phil my whole life. She's just that person. That's just who she is. She left an impression in this world, and she touched, as we all said, so many people's lives, and just all the people that she brought together. And she was a woman of unity. She was a stand-up woman, and she will be missed. And I know we're going to keep her legacy alive so many different ways. We have also, I just want to show the t-shirts that we had made. I don't know if y'all can see that. And it's gonna has the cancer ribbon inside the Q. So this is, we're gonna keep her alive. The proceeds for these t-shirts will go to the Cancer Foundation, Breast Cancer Foundation. This is another one. Can you all see it?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then this is the third one. So she is a person that
Is
I
it
mean, her mem-
possible? Is it possible to enlarge Renee?
you want to see the shirt again?
Yeah, because it's just your screen so small.
Oh, okay. Now can you see it?
Yes, it looks beautiful.
And here's the other one.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
And this one.
It's gorgeous.
So, I mean, I know we're all going to keep her memory alive. And I know that Phil would want us to come together in celebration of her life, celebrate her life and not her death, but celebrate her life because that's who she was. She was full of life and she just had so much life left. And I mean, I say that, but I know that God was ready for her because she gained her wings. And she's an angel now, and she's looking over all of us. And I'm like I said, I'll miss her so much, but I know that I know she was ready to be with the Lord, and she knew him, and that's what gives me peace and being able to just keep going because we all know death is a part of life, and it hurts. And I lost my niece, another friend to cancer, Phil, and my cousin last week, all in 6 months. But God knows what he's doing. He doesn't make any mistakes. And Phil left us something. She left all of us something. And we have to remember that and treasure that and keep that in our hearts.
Thanks for saying that, because I think we sometimes don't understand that people grieve differently. And for me, and it's about studying how we honor the memory of someone. And one of the things, I mean, I'm part Tanzanian, and Tanzania is very heavily Muslim. It's almost like 50-50. And through the journey, before someone transitions, there there is a for my Muslim side of the family and friends, they really emphasize on you not holding on and grieving, because the spirit is never let free. And when I would come back home, the first week I'm back from Tanzania during my sister's journey to transition, we would always meet. Phil and I would always meet. It was never about what stage you're in and all of that. It was always about how was she doing, how was her mindset, what did you do uh, to take care of yourself, because that was something she always did. She always plugged in, hey, are you taking care of yourself? Have you gone to for some self-care? And not only was she doing it virtually and reminding me, but I also had a fantastic couple of sisters, on the ground. So as you think, as I think about, this transition, it's the gift that she left of living fully and living, intentionally. So for me, coming back, it was a week of just connecting. I mean, we would just get in the car. She's like, I'm going to the bank. Come and ride with me. And I would come and ride with her, I mean, to the bank. How totally on you know, uneventful, but it was a meaningful time of investing, in each other, checking in to see, how you're feeling, and seeing what needed to be done for not only self, but for others in there. And those are human connections. It's a once in a while gift that we can give each other. And one of the things that I've learned, not only through my sister's journey, but through this journey with her, is really not having any regret once you know you've done the best that you can given this circumstance. And I do believe that sometimes we put off things because we don't think we're fully ready. But what I learned with her, with my sister, was just do it anyway. Just do things for others, however imperfect it may be. But if the spirit of goodness is there, it will be received well. And so for me, that's the gift that I'm taking away from this generation, this transition, the gift of doing things very intentionally. There are things that I personally don't think it's my place to share, but just some personal things of preparation that she was doing, very intentional. And it was something that taught me and helped me make certain decisions about how I looked at the aspect of material things. I was just sharing briefly is, how much of this do you need? This journey allowed me to start peeling off things that I really don't need a whole lot of this, but being very intentional about the human connection that is made. Helena, you mentioned the session we did in February last year. What's love got to do with it? And I remember telling her, hey, you're going to be up speaking. Her first reaction always is, man, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, girl, you got this stuff. And then she's recruiting others. Have you talked about Helena? I said, girl, she got to be there in there. And how about Kima, in there? She knew what we were trying to do as a group of women and what's love got to do with it, and different women coming and sharing their perspective. And I'm so glad I captured where she said, um, something to the effect of, was there anything I regret? I don't know, Helena, whether you remember that. And as she spoke, there was nothing that she regretted because she lived her truth. She lived her truth in there. And like you said, at the end, after she sweated and she did a beautiful job, the silliness that followed afterwards, throwing off your shoes and saying, see, you get it done. Just an authentic and pure hearted person. And if she felt she have offended you, not having a problem in apologizing for those things, and those are all lessons that we need to remember. That one of the things she and I always said, I don't really think anybody wakes up thinking about how they're going to offend you. I just think that in all that's happening in life, things happen, and I think that allowed us to have that forgiving kindness sometimes when people don't really deserve it. I enjoyed, I really am going to miss that. She was so generous about how she saw when people actually offended her. And it was great to see her not make a big deal of it and just brush it off and keep stepping on. Just a really good teacher without really teaching.
I want to piggyback on that. That was her topic. No regrets. That was her topic. And to hear, and when I replay the last year, year and a half, actually the last 2.5 years, putting in, and for me, I'm putting pieces of the puzzle together. And it all makes sense. It all makes sense. How she chose, some people are upset. Some people are, why didn't she say anything? Why didn't, why? People who know Phil won't ask that question. Phil lived life and ran things in a certain order in the way she did things. She managed, she controlled. And we're all devastated and we're all speaking through our pain. We all grieve differently. And there is no expiration on grief. People just learn to grieve differently as their journey continues. There's 5 stages of grief, and I'm not here to break down everything, but we are all going to go through it in some capacity. But when I look and put all the pieces together, things started to make a different level of sense for me. I need us all to remember we are all in pain. Our journey with Phil has come to a different, it hasn't ended, it's just come to a different path. My journey with my cousin has not ended. It's just a different path at this moment. But we need to understand there's 6 people. Her husband, her 3 children, and that new season she entered being Nana. And let's not forget her bonus babies. They are hurting. They are devastated. They are in pain. They're trying to make sense of all of this. So if we are carrying this level of pain, imagine what the Phillips family is carrying. The immediate family, the siblings, the nieces, the nephews. Whether it's our Seaton family, whether it's the Van family, whether it's the Williams family, whether it's the Kaba family, people are in pain in different ways, in different levels of pain right now. When Phil, one day we were in her garage and it was so hot. She had that big fan in that garage. Renee, you missed the fan in the garage. Y'all remember the garage and the fan? We were talking one day. Phil would just fill me in. I'd sit in there. It's just hot, just talking. We would leave from inside and come outside. And when she would talk about family, when she would talk about the family she created at that refugee camp, we see so much on the news. For the American people who are listening, the non-Liberians, our country went through so much. So many of my family members, they're refugees. So when we're looking at putting folks down, not understanding, being unkind, you don't know someone's journey. Weda just made a comment about an hour ago. Phil learned, she told me every class that she could take on that refugee camp, she took it. She made a way to take those classes. When she came here, she was doing her journey with TSU. She did her journey here. Phil was one of the most enterprising people I have ever met in my life. One of the most enterprising. But on that refugee camp, the impact, the love, the connections, the stories. I wasn't there, but I felt like I knew Wede. I felt like I knew the other part of they sang at one of her events. She wanted me to get up and speak, and she didn't know, but I honored her during that talk. She said, I can't believe you sat here and talked about me the whole time. I said, of course, because you highlight everyone else. You do so much. You need to be highlighted. She didn't know I was going to do that. I knew I was going to do it. I didn't tell her, but it was after they did their song, and it was so beautiful. But to see how enterprising, and for her to take that, it was always in her. That's how I look at it. It didn't just evolve or develop on a refugee camp. It was always in her. It was always in her. It just came out at different levels at different times. I honestly believe, and this is where I want to laugh a little bit. I honestly believe if Phil had to take a hammer and a nail and build a brand new house, she would do it. I honestly believe she would take a hammer, nails, and she would build a brand new house if she had to. That's how enterprising. I had a lot of cousins who went through the war and transitioning to the United States or other parts of the world. And to hear her story puts a different spin, different perspective. Look at Wede. Would you look at her and say, oh, she was a refugee? I have a lot of friends in the greater Houston area. A large part of our community came to the United States under stressful means, in distress. And the thing I want to highlight, so many of our friends and family members came as refugees and they were just told, go to school, learn how to function, go to work. The trauma, the challenges, the issues that existed, they were not focused on. But you expect individuals. I know people can see folks from Syria, we can see them from other parts of the world, but when it's your own people, your own relatives, and to see them persevere without any type of trauma care, culturally sensitive, because Western therapy doesn't always work with our people coming from another culture. We all know that. But to stick them in a new area, new country, new city, new experiences with limited resources, except the love that was built around them, and to see what she built, to see what she created, to see the love that she gave to so many people. It's immeasurable. It's immeasurable. So when people are putting down refugees, putting foreigners down, in my community, in my family, you know, it's funny because I'm so Americanized, but I know my roots. I know where I come from. And it's important to understand the impact and the devastation our people have gone through, and to see Phil persevere, to see her girls, her sisters that she created, that sisterhood, the survival, the spirit, the love, no, not leaving people behind. It's more than just us going to her fashion shows or going to the boutique. This is bigger than that. Phil was bigger than that boutique and what we saw in those fashion shows. To hear the stories of her experience in Liberia. Phil called me when she was in Liberia. The phone was going in and out. She wanted to video chat while she's in the car. And anybody who knows video, when is laughing, she wanted to video chat while in a car. I'm like, Phil, you're going in and out. And she's, you know, and y'all know, if you're talking to Phil, she's talking to other people at the same time when she's in the mix. Her perseverance, if her children are listening, your mother, and you already know this, her husband, her rock, she was his rock, he's her rock. He's still her rock. Her perseverance.
And I just want to piggyback off that. And thank you for bringing the family. You know we're going to miss Phil, but Phil left these 3 loving children, Kumba, Finda, and Tamba. And let us not forget these kids, because I know what it was at 23 losing my mom. Tamba is only 11 years old, and he doesn't have his mommy with him. So let us keep putting our arms around those kids, and letting them know that that love that filled us with, that we can pour it into them as well. And I want to publicly say too, a special thanks to Elkanah for loving my sister and my friend the way he did. Um, I remember us daydreaming on the camp. I think Liz and Dell and then they're listening as well. We used to be on our refugee camp daydreaming about how one day we would make it, and one day we used to say, we didn't want to have children as refugees when we were still refugees, because we didn't want our children crying in accents. So we're going to wait until the appropriate time for us to have our children and stuff like that. So we had all these big dreams, even though we didn't know what life had in store for us. You wake up in the morning and sometimes you don't even know where you're getting your meal from, your next meal. You just wake up and you depend on God, and like he provided manna for the children of Israel. God provided manna for us on so many occasions. So many occasions. We never had to give our bodies away to men just because of money. We didn't have to do the unthinkable just because we wanted money. God sustained us. We trusted him and he sustained us. So many other people were doing other things when we were in Ghana, but we decided to sing his praises, to give him glory, and to know that he said he would never leave us, he would never forsake us. And he didn't. He took care of us. And I just, like I said, I want to say a special thanks to Elkanah. I made a joke, I think we were in what you call it, in Dubai, how when he and I met the first time, we fought. I didn't like him. He didn't like me either because we were fighting over Phil. I wanted Phil to spend the night with me, and he said he didn't know who I was and he didn't want Phil to come and spend the night. And I was determined to win, and Phil ended up spending the night with me. I had come back from Canada. I had come to visit that day, and she ended up spending the night with me, and that's how I met Al. But over the years, I have grown to just love this man as a big brother, to see where he um how he believed in her. I wasn't with Phil when she was a little girl, but she used to tell me these stories how when she was younger, her mom would buy her outfit and she would take it and she would rip it apart and she would change the style and whatsoever and come back with a different style. And her mom would be so mad at her sometimes when she did these, but that's just that spirit in her. She wanted to create, and so she was always forming new clothes by taking her old clothes and making it into new clothes and stuff. And that was just her spirit in her. And so even on the camp, she would do things with our clothes every now and then and stuff. And she always had this big dream. And meeting Al and him believing in her. I remember he used to make flyers, and she would take it to Walmart and just hand it out to people to show that she could do hair. And that's how she started gaining her business in Texas. And he always had these ideas that he would bring to the table, and for all of us, trying to encourage us for us to do things, to be successful in America. And I mean, he gave her that platform for her to just soar, and soaring she did. Phil did New York Fashion Week. She went to London. She did the Fashion Week there. She went to France. She did a Fashion Week there. She had the Black American was it every February, the Black American month in Texas, that she was doing her fashion shows. I mean, she just embraced it and ran with it. And so I just want to just encourage us that even though she's not here, she still has her kids, her grandkids that we can pour our love into, and her other kids like Nora, like she had all these other adopted kids that loved her so much and followed her, and that was the spirit that she was. So let us remember that too.
Yeah, so beautiful. So beautiful. So talking about Al, and the family. So last year, August, I had just buried my sister, and she had a way of knowing how to pull you out. And I don't know how I got sucked into the Breakfast Club, but we found ourselves, Phil, uh, Al, and I, in Atlanta. We spent almost a week together at the Black Mayors Conference. And it was kind of, uh, I was trying to recenter, after burying my sister, but she knew a way of getting you involved in something else that was bigger than yourself. And so we were there making these connections, but we still had time, the three of us, to stop and find a Liberian restaurant to eat. And I think that's the closest I have been with just the three of us in quite a few years. And I saw the tenderness in which Al was taking care of her. Not that she was showing any weakness or anything like that. True to Phil, she was doing a million things. She had not packed enough, so she had to recreate an outfit because we had planned to go to the dinner, what have you. But it was beautiful just seeing that up close. And for someone who's been married as long as I have, it's a reminder of why people come together. Because after, I don't know about you all, but after the first year or two, all that fairy tale stuff is out of the window. It's now about a partnership. And it was beautiful to see this partnership. And it was, for me, this partnership was seeing, giving her a platform to discover what she wanted to do to take, her designs to the next level. But at the same time, giving Al the platform for him to venture beyond what he was doing in his field of engineering, and yet still coming together and having these regular conversations. We had, a couple of people that we know from Houston there talking, checking out historic sites. I know I did a little bit more of, but again, it was still just a learning and growing together and exploring. And it was a reminder about the importance of getting outside of your comfort zone, getting outside of your comfort zone. If you're going to make it, and however you define success, and to me, success is defined by you, the person, and you had to be uncomfortable to get comfortable again. Because I'm basically an introvert. And I know some find it hard to believe, but I'm basically an introvert. So if you allow me, I will kind of sit and just love to watch and observe and learn in private. But she didn't allow you to just sit. She kind of pushed you and nurtured you, and because she believed, in you. And I think that's what we are here. One of the things we always talk about, the power of service. And we understood that really service is the currency that we as individuals really pay to live in God's world. And we're here to serve each other. And how should it look like when we have been gifted and given this talent? It's not just for our own benefit, it is to uphold others. And so just hearing from those of us here, I believe we are representing the voice of so many. And I know, Helena, we're representing so many of our Liberian sisters who could not come on here. I had a conversation with a couple of them that just didn't think they would be able to come and talk about it without really breaking down. So, not assuming that we're speaking for them, but I do know if they were here, we would hear even more incredible stories of encouragement, of of believing them to success, of just having that bullish spirit of wanting the best for and from everyone. And so the community is not on this call, but having been with Phil and served in some small capacity, I know that she served, I think, as a board member in our community. She was very instrumental in things that we wanted to do for fundraising and giving of herself, giving of her talent, giving of her treasure to stabilize what we were trying to do, especially a community that consistently, ever so often, went through some challenges and changes. But being one of a few that you could always rely on, it was always good to see that. So when I think about her, I am reminded that we are here to serve, and service is that currency that we pay to live in this world. And no matter how small or large it is paying homage to what we are designed to do in there. So it's heavy. I got the opportunity to meet her mom, her mom in Liberia just before I went, and it's a new role. She said, "You got to make sure you connect with mom." I said, "That's the first thing I will do." And true to form, in March when I went to Liberia, I met her mom and spent time with her mom, and she shared about the surprise 70th birthday, I think birthday they celebrated in Liberia. It's like she just knew to go and pour in. So I know her mom is hurting deeply and hurting hard. But I know that her mom experienced that intense love all the time because she shared with me the conversations they were having and some of the things that they were working on. So again, as we support the family, let's not forget those in Liberia who she touched and continued to work with. She was very passionate about, what we this emergent issue of drug use. And she said to me, Efwa, we've been supporting organizations and we don't see the movement. I am going now to focus on individuals and see, because I see them doing direct things to make a difference in there. And I say, you know what, that's something to think about, because sometimes we don't get the reports that we need from organizations, but we individuals, we can see who are taking one, two people in and helping that change. So let's not forget that Phil, the global person, also had her heart in Liberia and was doing things in Liberia that we need to connect with and continue to support um, in her honor.
Rufus, you're muted. Rufus, you're muted.
We can't hear you, Rufus.
Okay, I think I'm good now. I'm trying to get the photos and videos um, so that we can be able to play for our viewing. So we're going to open the lines for those of you who want to weigh in. You've been listening to the panelists about speaking more about our fallen mother, friend, and sister. It's about time you too, you're listening to the radio. You are in Liberia. This is the time you can call in 0887 105 105 0778 665 073. For those of you in Liberia, those that are in the diaspora wanting to weigh in, I'm going to pin the WhatsApp line on the screen here. All you need to do is to call on WhatsApp. Yeah, this number, let me pin it on the screen. Okay, you can call this WhatsApp number, and I'm going to put you live on the show so you share your own memories as they have been doing, so that we have the time. You know, they say give a man his flower while he's alive. They've been doing, and even after death, um, we continue to remember the good days. They say the life you live speaks for you. If she was a Confucianist, come on, they wouldn't have taken up the time to be here. There's no doubt about it. The life you live speaks for you. They got their basic schedules. They left all the basic things that they had to do, and they are on here. We're gone an hour plus now. That shows the life that Precious Phyllis lived, an exemplary life. So if you are listening, if she touched you while she was alive, you want to share your own memories, locally, the lines 0887 105 105, 0778 665 And for those of you outside of Liberia, you can hit us up on WhatsApp. The line is pinned on the screen there. For those of you listening, but not viewing, you can hit us up on WhatsApp outside of Liberia. This line is dedicated to you. 0770 378 566. This is a dedicated line for those of our followers who want to wade in. 0770 378 566. Call us on WhatsApp. And those of you in Liberia and you're listening to the radio, you want to also share your memories. 0887 105 105, 0778 665 073. I'm trying to get, you people can continue. I'm trying to get, while we're with the course, I'm trying to get the videos that we compiled so that we play for those memories. Someone can begin from there at least, so that we keep the time. Let me get the video set.
Wendy, I'm going to ask you. So, how did you get to wrestle Phil from Alkina?
So I had not met him. I went to the camp and we came to my sister's house in town. And I think she was communicating with him, and she said, "Oh, he had said she couldn't spend the night at my place, and he was coming to get her." And I said, "Oh no, he isn't." I said, "He's not coming to get you, and you're going to spend the night here." And we went back and forth, and I spoke to him on the phone, and we finally concluded that she was going to spend the night with me, and so he released her for the night, and that's how she spent that night with me. And I mean, because I was like, who is he? And who does he think he is? And what have you? But when we did get to meet each other, it was a mutual liking. We put our differences behind us, and I just knew I had won the battle. That's the thing. Yeah, but Al has been a big, big influence in all of our lives. I mean, even spiritually, he has grown so much spiritually, and he's just been that person that you can call Al and talk to him anything about God, and he's always there, willing to lend his ear and encourage you. And I'm just glad that he was there for my sister all through this journey. The 5 years of cancer, he had been there, and he would tell you just learning to love his wife was a blessing to him. So Yeah, I just want to encourage that. And I also want to say that I thank Sis Ifwa for bringing up Interweadi in Liberia. You know, she's hurting. I talked to her the other day, and oh my God, I just felt her hurt. But we know that Phil is not gone forever, and she's in our hearts. And like I said, those children, let's love on her children to give her to keep her memory alive. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because I know sometimes, you know how you're on the phone with Phil, we're deep in. She's like, about 3 times you can hear that beep in, beep, and beep. She said, "That's Al. Let me tell him I'm talking to you," you know? And if she came back, I'm like, okay, I won this time, you know? But he was so good and generous in letting us have that sister time.
Yeah.
And
And I'm thinking of her other friend, Ophelia. I know Ophelia couldn't make it today. She was supposed to be on, but I don't think she had the. She kept saying that, "Whether I don't think I can make it. I don't think I'll be able to be strong enough to go out there, because I'm just hurting as well, you know." And Rashida in Minnesota, I know Rashida is hurting as well. But Phil brought us together in such a unique way. Like even without her, we feel like we're getting best to be best friends too, because of Phil. But that was the spirit that Phil had. So yeah.
Helena, Helena, quick, you okay?
No,
No, you're not. I know. You
no.
know. Yeah.
And it's okay not to be okay. Just, but I keep hearing, and the theme that has resonated over the last couple of weeks: be strong, be strong, be strong. Grief does not make you weak. Um, and one of the things that I have focused on over the last 5 years is that word strong. And she went through this journey for 5 years. One of the things I talk about a lot on the professional realm of things is women and strength. Women, our strength is amazing. But us being so strong all the time and carrying so much every day, all the time, is making us sick and making us unwell emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we are all trying to, quote unquote, be strong. I couldn't even get through the first 10, 15 minutes of the thing without having my crying fest. And I'm okay with that. People have been asking me. I've gotten phone calls. I haven't called everybody back because I needed a moment. I'm doing better with my boundaries. I couldn't handle it. Grief does not make you weak, but I also want us to remember, yes, strength is beautiful. It's amazing, but we need to understand. We need to understand that grief, feeling, experiencing does not make you weak. It doesn't make you weak. And I'm saying that for everyone who can hear me say that. Grief does not make you weak. Fear does not make you weak. Even though when you have faith, fear and faith conflict. But grief does not make you weak. We are hurting. So many people are hurting. I just need us to remember it is okay to feel. It is okay not to be, quote unquote, strong. It is okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're not letting Phil down. Phil has seen me cry. Phil and I have talked about so many things. So many things. Relationships, children, finances. What it means to be strong in various conversations. Growth, stagnation, community, sisterhood, motherhood. It is okay to not be okay, but for everybody who's struggling, you don't have to go through this alone. I need y'all to hear that. Renee, I know you're feeling it. I've seen you interact. I've seen you help her. I've seen you at the baby shower. I've seen you at the studio. I've seen you when you told me. I've seen you. And all those who are there, who stood by her, the customers, all her customers, some of them are really struggling right now that I know. Some of them are really struggling right now. It is okay not to be okay. It is okay. But please know, Wede, everybody, and the rest of the crew, Nora, it is okay to lean on one another, to lean on somebody through this. It is okay to not be okay. I just need us through our grief to continue to uplift her household, uplift her aunt, uplift her sister and her other siblings. As we all struggle with this loss. It is okay not to be okay, and you don't have to go through this grief alone. Sam, Amos, Shaman, those are her adopted children. It is okay to not be okay. All the friends, everyone she's touched in Ghana, in Liberia, in Minnesota, in Dallas, wherever, it is okay not to be okay. But please do not go through this journey without leaning on somebody if you need it. It is okay to lean on those for the support to get through this. Because I know I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I am struggling with this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have 4 brothers. I'm the eldest of 5. God didn't bless me to have sisters through my parents. Phil was my sister. I have other relatives that are little sister. I have a little sister through family. I love her. But here in the Houston area, our connection, that bond, my sister is gone. My sister is gone. Our surrogate mother is gone. Our friend is gone. Last night, Bernice, we were all at the house. Bernice said, our fashion designer, all the memories, the moments to hear when we were there last night. And when Fifi told me she didn't think she could make it, I said, I don't know if I can either, but I'll try to do my best. Fifi, we're thinking about you today. And I do want one more laugh. I have to mix it up. When you were talking, Phil was good at recreating last minute, taking one piece and creating something else. I remember she did that with so many skirts. She said, bring it back. I'm going to make this. I'll do this. I just have to chime in when I hear FY saying that. Phil would literally take one piece that she created and turn it into something else for me. Bring the skirt back. Bring it back. Or if you're not going to wear it again, bring it here. I'll do something else with it. But Phil was so good. I don't know if any of y'all have seen Phil draw her designs, her sketches before she sews. To watch her just take, even if it's a lined notebook, if that's what she had in her possession, okay, tell me what you think. Is this what you're talking about? To see her draw. Phil could draw. On top of the fact that I think she could build a house with just a hammer and some nails. To see her sketch the designs based on what you tell her. I've seen her do it with her customers. But I've also seen her take things that she had for me, take it back and recreate something new. That was who she was. And I'm like, you are serious. She said, bring it back. I'll show you. And she did it. Her talent was amazing. Her creativity, amazing. And she always, through everything, it doesn't matter what's going on, she always had a sense of peace. Phil always led with a sense of peace. Her energy was so peaceful. Even when she was acting crazy, and we had some moments where we were crazy. Phil led with peace. Love. There are certain things that would take place, and she would say, well, if I don't do it in front of you or do it with you, who else I'm going to do it with? You know, just certain experiences we would have. If I don't do it with you, who else am I supposed to do it with? I am grateful. The 16 years, I just made 16 years in the greater Houston area. And I am so grateful that we had the opportunity to bond the way that we have bonded within my time of being in this area. I'm grateful, forever grateful. Forever grateful.
I just wanted a memory that when you were talking came to mind. My little cousin got sick in Ghana, and just listening, I heard that the doctors had given up on her, and so I bought a ticket and I flew to Ghana to go and be there with her. And lo and behold, who was in Ghana? It was Phil. And we took that time to just bond. I mean, my sister needed oxygen. She needed to come from the hospital. Phil was there. We went to the hospital. Phil was there with me every day until we brought her home. One of my other friends, Tupi, she had a house in Ghana, and she had given us an apartment. She had given us the apartment to stay while we were there. And I'm telling you, Phil was there with me every single day. We took care of my little cousin until I think we spent a week and a half with her, got her settled and everything. Before
we got a call. We got a call here. Hello. Your name and you join us from where? My name is Rufus. Come again. My name is Rufus. Okay, Rufus. I'm a son to Mr. and Mrs. Phillips. Okay. It's so heartbreaking. The words are inadequate to express
is my mother because my daughter needs it. Okay? So it's kind of heartbreaking that the words are inadequate to express. I would say never mind to my daddy, and I pray God strengthen him each time, each hour, each moment. I know how it feels. So Lord, a part of you, 50% part of you are blessed. I want to say my deepest condolences to the family, to all of us. We are still here, and I just wish that Jason was like on here, Guinea or Africa. I'm there. It's so heartbreaking. Never mind to all of us. I will say to Mr. Phillips, boss, I beg, be strong. God got you. Be strong.
Amen.
Thank you, Rufus. Thank you so much for being a part.
Okay.
Okay, so for those of you who are following and you want to actually join in, we pin on the screen there the WhatsApp number. Let me get it back up. You can call. For those of you outside of Liberia, you can call this WhatsApp line and share your memories. And if you are in Liberia, 0887 105 105 0778 665 073. Those numbers you can call locally to form part of this movement of memories for our fallen mother, auntie, sister, friend. I mean, you just name all of those connections you had with Mrs. Phillips. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Who
Rufus.
Okay.
Thank you, Rufus, for sharing that with us. It's just like what you're feeling all over the world. People calling from London, people calling from Canada, people calling from all over. And that's the same sentiment, you know? Phil was missed, and she will always be missed, but let's keep her in our hearts as we go on. Thank you.
I Rufus, I'm not trying to moderate, but thank you, Helena, because I know apart from being a cousin sister, this is a profession that you do, and whatever I do with supporting discussions, I always love having you because you bring that professional perspective to us about, giving ourselves the freedom to feel. And I think it was important, even as you grieve, that you shared that piece about strength and all of that. But another conversation, Renee, I know I had with you when we talked about when people were shocked to hear, and I think the conversation with another very good friend was we weren't sure that the cause of death was going to be known, and we do have to remember to respect people's privacy. So I'm very glad, first of all, that Akina shared the cost of death. But I think you and I had some reaction when people said, why didn't she tell us? So
Yes.
as someone, I'd love to hear from you because I've experienced it with my sister's illness. Why didn't she tell me earlier? So you, as someone who has gone through this journey and has been blessed with health, can you share your perspective why someone wouldn't just tell anyone?
Well, I mean, knowing, I think people have different reasons why they may not want to share with their loved ones. Um, but it's all similar. Like Phil, I believe Phil was the type of person who she wanted everybody to be happy. I don't care what you was going through, she brought light into your life. She did not want to be the dimmer of anybody. It was a selfless act on her part. So when I heard, well, she didn't tell me or whatever other comments, it was to protect the person. It had nothing to do with her. She was protecting everybody's heart, as she always did. She looked out and wanted the best for everyone. And she didn't want anybody to, I believe, she didn't want anybody to like pity her. Phil wasn't that person. She didn't do stuff for accolades. She did everything she did from her heart. She had a beautiful heart and a beautiful soul. And she didn't want people coming and crying, and she would have threw you out. She didn't want that. So I believe that's why she didn't tell anyone, you know. I mean, we all when you go through cancer, and I hope nobody does, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you. Your mind goes in all different places, you know, the chance of it coming back. And I just think Phil was just looking out for everybody that she loved. And that is how she loved us, by protecting us. And I feel like that's what she did. So she didn't do anything to hurt anyone. She was a private person anyways. She was very private. So she wasn't going to not be private when she felt like it was a downtime. She wasn't going to become unprivate at that point. So I just think it was the love she had for everyone. And that's why she chose to keep it. And she shared it with who she wanted to share it with. And for whatever reason, she chose to share it with that individual. And it probably was for different reasons. I think me, because I went through it. So I could understand what she was, you know, going through in the stages, and somebody to talk to about that could understand. So, but she did it to spare us.
I want to piggyback off of Renee. I'm going to say it a little differently, Renee. Phil told who she needed to tell.
Yes. Yep.
I don't think it was an issue of who she wanted to tell.
Yeah.
I think he told who she needed to tell.
Yes.
And when Al explained to me, he sat me down on video because Phil passed on the day that I arrived to Ohio to memorialize a very close family member. My dad's cousin, Nellie, passed away, and that was more like a sister to him. And I had to be there to read her obituary. Phil passed the day I arrived in Ohio for that. So I'm already dealing with all these emotions. But it knocked me down. And when he explained to me, I think it took a while. He was patient on the phone because I lost it, to be expected. My family came. My dad. Phil's on my dad's side, but she's close to my mom and our family. Phil told who she needed to tell. I wasn't upset, you know, and I've had to tell other family members, and I say it and I'm done. I'm not going to go into a conversation. That is his wife. They made decisions. That is his wife. There's no discussion. There's no discussion to be had. Whether you like it or not, you're hurting, but that is his wife. She may be your sister, your cousin, your neighbor, your hairstylist, whatever she was. When I talk about those tentacles that extend, that's his wife. He explained to me why I was not supposed to know. He explained that. Okay? And I respect that. But I'm also going to put another twist to this. I had a conversation with her daughter, and we were able to share a laugh through this part. I said, Fina, you know how your mom is? She likes to run it. put it together, run it. Phil went out the way she wanted to go out. She managed it all the way to the end. And we should all smile. Phil went out the way Phil wanted to go out.
We have a caller. Hello.
Rufus, can you hold on a second? You're like when Wedded was in the middle of an intimate moment. Can you just give me 1 second, please?
Okay.
Phil went out the way she chose to go out, and she and her husband made executive decisions that is their right to make. And people need to understand that and love them through this process. We need to learn to love them through the process, but I know it's coming from the hurt. It's coming from the shock. It's coming from the grief. And Fina and I laughed. We shared a moment of laughter. I said, she went out the way she wanted to go out. And I was crying and laughing at the same time when she and I were talking face to face when I saw her. That is what we need to understand and remember. So, and I'm saying this to even some of our family members, even those who have not shared this sentiment to me. If you are upset, anger, hurt, confused, understand that's his wife, not was his wife, that is his wife. Phil is their mother. She is your friend, just in a different way. I'm not upset. I feel Phil went out the way she chose to go out. She did. She managed it. And she also, like you said, Renee, she protected us. When I was told the news, she was at my mom's house and they ran outside. I was right there. Everyone knows, forget about what I do professionally. I am a crybaby and there was a situation that Phil shared with me. Once I start putting all the pieces together, I understood why she didn't want me there. After I start putting all the little pieces together through this journey, I was like, okay, this and that makes sense now. She protected us. And she wanted us to remember her the way she wanted us to remember her. And that's okay. She managed and controlled it all the way to the end. All the way to the end. Phil managed and controlled it all the way to the end. And we have to find peace, joy, and laughter in all of that through the pain. Phil managed it the way she wanted to manage it. And we need to respect that and love them through this process. And I'm glad she said something to FY. I'm glad Renee knew. I'm glad Fifi knew. I'm glad certain people knew, because that is what she needed alongside her husband in this journey. Phil told who she needed to tell. It wasn't an issue of being selective. When I look at the folks in her life and what they mean to her, it's okay that she chose that path, and we cannot be angry. I think the anger is coming from the hurt and the loss. That's where it's coming from, the pain. That's where it's coming from mostly.
Thanks, Renee. Thanks. It's so important for us to add that to our healing journey. So important. Rufus, you said you had a caller?
So let's get connected with this person who was earlier on the line. Continue when we get the person back on the line, and then we'll pick up from there.
Right. Nora's been quiet.
I'm just listening, honestly. I think just taking everything in. Yeah, I know you guys knew her a lot longer than I did, so kind of wanted to just listen and hear all the stories and everything, you know. Mm.
Thanks for sharing that about how Phil wanted to go. You know, we have a nickname for Phil, and we call her Chakla Boti. And she would say, "Oh, you're away." She would go on with all her accolades and stuff. But we call her Chakla Boti for a reason. When Phil, when we said, and when we heard this news that some people were shocked that she had had cancer for so many years and what have you.
I'm calling from the US.
Go ahead, Mom.
Yes, Auntie Tati. That's how I used to call her. Tati and I come a long, long way. I knew her when I was just a little girl, and she was a young girl to come here. We lived in Bonaparte Estate together, Area E. And Tanti was our keyboard star. Yes, she used to play keyboard and she used to play very, very well. And she taught me how to learn how to catch the ball because whenever we would go on the field to play, I was learning how to play keyboard at that time. And when I'm on the field and when they throw the ball to me, instead of me trying to catch the ball, I would try to run away from the ball. And she taught me how to catch the ball. And Tanti was just lovely. She started sewing from imagine she was in elementary school when Tanti started to sew. I can remember we all attended St. James together. And her little brother that died, her little brother died, and her little brother and I was in the same class together. I remember when he died, and it was a difficult time for Tanti and her mom. And I stopped seeing Tanti again because I went on in boarding school, and then when the war came, I went to Ghana. My auntie took me to Ghana, and then lo and behold, who I saw, Tanti was there, and I was so happy to see a familiar face. And Tanti and I was just in the same house together. She had one room there, and I was there with my auntie. And Tanti was always a big sister to me. We used to talk every now and then, not frequently, but every now and then. And when she posts her stuff on Facebook, I would like it, and I would comment on it. And then one time I decided for Tanti to sew for me, but to sew my husband and I because our anniversary was coming. And then I called her, and she said, "Oh, Jumpy, that's my childhood name." And she said, "You call me that name." She said, "Oh, Jumpy, just take your measurement, take your husband's measurement, and then I will figure something out." But then my husband traveled to Ghana, and then he brought something for us to use for our anniversary. So Tanti did not sew that clothes. And I have a wedding coming up, and they told us to wear African. So I said, "Oh, I think I need to call my big sis Tanti to help me on this time, so she can sew something quick for me." And probably before hearing her death news that whole week, I had on my mind to call her. I said, "Oh, I need to call Businss to let her know that she need to sew something for me quick. I need to call her." So that I think it was Saturday. I saw the post on Facebook, but that same Saturday I decided to call her because I have a number. I said, "Oh, I got to call Businss soon so she can sew something for me." But then I went on Facebook, and when I went on Facebook, the first Saturday I saw the post for rest at Phil Colley. I said, "What?" I said, "This cannot be true, man." And so I went on her page. I didn't see anything. So the person that posted that, I called the person. I said, "What are you saying?" She said, "Oh, yes, so that is that." I said, "What?"
it was just so hard for me at that moment, because imagine thinking about somebody for you to call them and then to hear the death news. That was so just difficult for me. Tante, she will always be remembered. She was a joyful person. And those of you who know Tante always loved to play jokes. She always had something funny to say. I remember when she saw something like that, she would say, "Oh, I need to do something to pop my leg, butt up my leg." She used to call it something that way. She said she needed to pop her butt or all kind of thing, and would be laughing. She was so kind. She was so lovely, and she's going to be missed. To the husband, I don't know him, but I pray that God give him strength to cope with her absence.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, you're welcome.
That's it.
So yeah, thank you again. I don't know who the caller was, but thank you for just reminiscing about her. So back to Chakalaboti. So we say Chakla pull a Chakalaboti on us, right? She pulled the last Chakalaboti, she pulled it on. And that's just who she was, man. She made her presence, and when she was checking out, she checked out. That was who she was, you know? So let's just embrace her for who she was. I know some people are hurting that they didn't know about it and whatsoever, but if she didn't tell you, like, then maybe she just didn't want you to know when she didn't want to. She didn't want you worried, you know? She didn't want you worrying about her. She's fine. Wherever she is, she's fine. And I can imagine her in heaven looking at those angels' gowns and trying to cut it up and make a new outfit out of the gowns and everything. That's all I think about when I think about her. I'm like, I know you're out there, you're up there and you're having fun. You're going to be having fun. So let's just remember her in the light that she was. Amen.
Yep, like Mary Magdalene, come here. Let me straighten that dress you got on, girl. In there. Yeah, but
she braiding their hair and
straightening up and all of that. Absolutely.
yeah.
So how about those of you who are in the I think the travel group, and she just pops up with was it Attorney Crump? So I'm in Liberia, right? And I see on my phone this, call me ASAP, call me ASAP. Now it's rainy in Liberia, the line is bad, she's driving, okay? And she's like, call me right away. She sends this the thing. I'm like, you got Attorney Crump, bring him to Liberia. Oh, you and your Liberia business. I'm like, yes, we gotta elevate this Liberia, all of us. You're supposed to be here in Ghana. Why aren't you in Ghana? I told you I'm coming. But that's the spontaneous, full
Yeah.
of life person.
Yeah.
And she wanted to give everybody that experience, especially with this her new venture on travel. Everybody had to feel it and be a part of it if you wanted to. I love the way she wanted to give you the experience with no pressure.
Yeah.
It was just this engulfing you in there, but there was a purpose to it. There was a purpose to it in there.
Yeah.
And so just hearing the caller, talk about her and the stories of spontaneity, I'm going to miss that. I mean, who says, the shop is not open today, but come, we need to just make you over, and I just need you to try on these clothes, and we take a few pictures. And thinking she's going to have, her photographer friend. No, I am going to be your photographer for the day. Who does that? Are you sure you're not going to get clients? No, it's all about you today. You've been out of this
Yeah,
country too long. It's about you today.
was.
That's who she was. And
Yes.
that shop would be, you'll be in the shop 8 hours just with her, and she was giving you your time
Yeah.
because she knew you had come from a challenging situation and you needed refreshing and you knew recharging in there. So I'm gonna miss those moments of preparing to exit to Africa. You're about to go on one of your sabbaticals, she would call them, and but knowing that really it was all about work. So uh, we all just had wonderful experiences. And I know, Nora, you said you haven't known her as long as us, but I will tell you, Phil, it was not about the length of
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
It was about the quality of the interactions. And you are on here today because Al felt and knew the deep, deep, connection that you had with her. And, the stories that you can share. I'm sure there are others who've known her for a lifetime who could not share those experiences in there. That authentic um, part of who we are. I think I was listening to something and it said people are even trying to re-engineer authenticity. But what you got with Phil, what you saw is that was who she is. I love that, Helena, you still speak about her in the present, and Al is doing that as well. My wife, is, and we do. If we believe in, I think my husband calls it what, reincarnation. If we have to believe in the soul, the presence of the soul in all of us, and knowing that that soul she planted in a little bit in all of us, it's up to us to water it and merge it into what we believe, our life purpose is. And I love what I heard. Someone said she checked out, on her own terms. Isn't that such a strategic business move on Phil's part? I mean, let's call it what it is. It was very, very strategic, and she didn't want to leave that pain. And I am personally appreciative of it. I know when she was in the hospital, what she said, and what she said, but she forgot that she had sent me a picture not so long ago, and she tried to uh, not have me worry, but she forgot we had a conversation a little bit. Again, it was protecting because in this case I knew, but I didn't know that the number was going to be up so soon. So it's still that needing to protect part, but still full of joy and full of fun. Um, I'm left with a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be grateful, to be even more intentionally, and quite honestly, not to hold on to a lot of things. One of the things we're talking about, she told me she found this new, and maybe Renee, you know this place. She said, "Man, I found this new place, a spa. We need to go there."
Oh
And
yeah,
you guys
yeah.
go there, so you got to tell me because we never made it. She
Mhm.
told me about
Oh, it's a Asian spa. I took her there for her birthday.
it. Okay, okay,
Um, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. I think it's called Gen Spa.
okay, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's an Asian spa. And I said, okay, Phil, I'm taking you somewhere. I said, you got to be open minded. I
Okay.
said, in Asia, they don't they go around nude. That's what they do. She looked at me. I said, don't think about it. I said, it's all women. You go in. I said, but the experience is amazing. Well, when she got through, she came out and she just looked like, oh my God. She said, I have to come here like once a month. She absolutely loved it. But we had such a good time. There's so many memories with her. So many memories. But yeah, that's the spa that she was talking
Okay.
about.
Well, you got to connect us to that spa
Yes.
because she told me about it and she said,
Yeah.
when you come, we are going there to recharge you.
And that's
And
what it
I'm
does.
like, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you,
Mhm.
you know, so
We'll have to go in her memory.
okay. Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of those, I remember when you took her to that spa, Renee, and she told me about everything that she just, in her way of explaining.
Uh-huh.
But Phil and I had spoken, and I told her I needed a break because senior year, I told her my words to her. I said, senior year is like a full-time job on top of my work. And then I had a significant loss. And I told her, I said, I just need a 4-day cruise, Phil. Can we, just the two of us, leave on a Thursday and come back on Monday? That's all I need. I just need 4 days. Just no phone, nothing. We don't. And then I told her, I said, doesn't even have to be a cruise. We can just go somewhere. I just need 4 days. Just 4. When you come back, let me know where, and we'll plan it. With that, I don't know how much time we have left, but I would love for us. I mentioned this last night, and I want to mention it here for everyone to hear. And I know we're live on Facebook and it's on my YouTube channel. Ladies, I would love for us to support the Sisters Network next year. If we can start convening, talking. I'm not taking away from Susan G. Komen. That's not where I would like us to focus our time. They've done some great things over the years, but the Sisters Network has a more powerful platform that I think if we could get together, Renee, Wade, I know you're at a distance, and Nora, I would love for you. I mentioned it last night. I would love for us to start working on our team to honor Phil next April for the Sisters Network Walk. It honors women of color, and the money goes where it's supposed to go, not to exuberant salaries. It is a local piece. They have other walks in Atlanta and other cities. But I would love for us, I said I was going to bring it up today. If we could pull a beautiful team together, the Liberian community, her American friends, her worldly friends, if we can all work on that to honor, and whether your mom, whoever we've lost to this horrible, horrible disease, if we can honor those women, I would love for us, I don't know if you all are interested.
I'm interested.
Get out there on this platform today. I know one of her daughters is here listening. I don't know everyone else who's on, but I would like for us to take the charge on to organize a really nice production. I feel like I want us to do a beautiful production and honor her for the Sisters Network that walk in April of next year.
Yeah, that sounds great. I go to a predominantly African American Catholic church here in Houston in Fifth Ward, and Sisters Network is regularly recognized and supported in our church community. So I'm very familiar with them, and I think it's a good way to support the efforts because, I know you're trying to be politically correct. Is the funds raised there goes towards research and support of African American women of color in there. As we all know, there's not enough that's very specific to us, and whatever we can do and align our dollars where it can make a difference. I think it will be critical. My second daughter did public health, and she's been just trying to go in and out of public health. But she said something very powerful to me yesterday, and it's not so much related to cancer as to health in general. and she got diagnosed with a situation and accidentally. And she said, the least I can do is use my platform to create awareness of Graves' disease, and really, which really affects women a lot. So I think the more we do to create platforms, it's going to generate ideas for others to highlight areas that's not getting the necessary attention. And what better way to honor a beautiful person who supported a lot of these causes, even as she went through this journey herself. So you absolutely can count me in.
Yes.
Yes, and please count me in too, Helena.
Count me in too.
I know I'm far off, but even if I can just donate or whatever I can do, I'll be willing.
Whether you're gonna be here, you're
Okay.
gonna be here with us.
Just let me know. Give me enough
It's
time.
July.
Yeah.
I've lost track of my days through this moment, through this season.
Uh-huh.
It's the 19th.
Okay.
We're gonna start planning. We're gonna connect. We'll make it happen. I want you to be here. We need to be here. I have a couple of friends I know that are listening who are breast cancer survivors who have gone through this journey.
Okay.
And I think Kumba is still with the travel. Isn't Kumba still with the travel? I know she onboarded her. We one of the sessions we had not too long ago, Kumba was on there. So I hope Kumba will continue this travel, because that's one thing Phil was really doing well, and I think she can assist with those who are not here.
Yes.
And I think it's very doable. That borders will not matter.
No, I'll be there.
Her daughters are on. I can see them commenting and watching the chat. We love you. Y'all know I love y'all. And we're here for you. We're here for y'all. Your family. We're here.
So,
Rufus, as a moderator, I'm sorry. Yeah. I had a question, but it sounds like you're going to give us direction. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask the question.
No, I knew when we started there was going to be like a set time. Was there anything specific you wanted us to do from a wrap up perspective?
Yeah. So just in 5 minutes, we'll get each of you parting comments. Then we call it a day. But I want to actually dedicate on behalf of my team here. The venture for which you want to actually, you are directed to, we are available to do publicity and all of the necessary communication aspect, printing of flyers and making of jingles. I made myself available because she also made an impact in my life, though her husband is still behind and he's been my mentor. I dedicate my time and service to whatever that will be in her memory.
I just want to say one thing before we wrap it up. I know something. Phil wanted to take Fifi, her sister, Ophelia, to Vegas because she had never been. I would love if we can plan a trip and fulfill that, because it was something we was planning it, but it was like every time we went to get the tickets, something happened. And I don't know if God had it set up and he already knew what was going to happen. And we just could not get that trip. So I think, she would love that. And I know Fifi, she knew, she said she's never been. We got to take her to Vegas. So let's try to do that.
All right, Renee, just let us know.
Okay. I'll talk to Fifi. We'll do it later, but we'll get it done. We'll get that something that we need to put on our schedule.
So we can begin with our parting comments.
I just want to say thank everybody for coming and tuning in. We really appreciate you all coming on. we all love Phil. That's why we're on here. We're all on here for the same reason, because of our love for Phil and knowing her and everything that she has imparted in us. And we have a lot of takeaway from Phil. So let's just remember the life that she lived, her legacy, and keep her in our hearts, because she's not gone. She's still here. So thank you all.
Who's next?
Well, I'll go. I want to thank Phil's family for sharing her with us. You know, she is a mom, a wife, a sister, a daughter, all those things, but yet she made time for those of us who are not connected by blood, but spiritually in there. So I thank her and her family for the generosity of sharing herself with us. And it takes a person with a big heart, a big soul, a big spirit to be able to do that, steering us and yet leaving herself open to learn from us as well. Because relationships are, should be two-way streets. And I want to thank so many who allowed her to be who she is, and by doing so, allowed us to experience who she truly is as a person. There, it was very clear to me that with her, you could have quality or you could have quantity. And she allowed the amount of time that you had to matter, at least in my experience. I love the fluctuation of being able to be vulnerable and yet strong at the same time with her. Some no titles, and yet still having titles of the different relational experiences that one could have. And I wrap up by saying my heartfelt condolences to all who loved her, her immediate family. And once the physical body has been buried and all the music and all the visitors leave, there's still going to be a family that's going through a journey of healing.
Mm.
And I want to just let you know that we're here for you to tap and say it hurts. I've come to learn that this life is not about the material things that matter, but it's about the quality of time and listening ears that we can give each other. You know, Phil touched people in ways that she didn't even realize. There was someone who attended my daughter's bridal shower who just experienced Phil from attending the event and said she was such a beautiful person. And this woman has been in connection and wants to come and experience her home going in there. That's the kind of magic that Phil had. And so for those of us whose lives are going to be forever changed because we don't have the physical presence, let's remember that she touched people so spiritually and emotionally, and that's what we carry. So thank you all for allowing me the space to share some thoughts of this journey that I've had with Phil. Like I said, from corporate to community, experiencing the girl, the woman, and just the good friend that she is. Be blessed.
I just want to say that the Queen will definitely be missed. I don't want to be emotional, so I'm not going to say much. But thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys for sharing your stories and helping keep her legacy alive. Thank you guys.
And thanks to every one of you who joined us today to just celebrate Phil. For those of you who are going to be at her homegoing, let us just remember the light that Phil was, that joy, that kind spirit, that loving, caring, giving person that she was. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on and for giving us the opportunity to memorialize her. And let's just carry her in our hearts. Like I said, Chakalaboti, she did it the Phil's way. She exited the Phil's way. And we have to give her credit. We have to just celebrate her for who she was, for who she was. She was just a strong person, and she carried that strength. But like Helena said, we don't always have to be strong or say that we're strong, but we have the opportunity to lean on each other right now. I know what's keeping me, what's healing me in this process is just having people to talk about her. The other day I was on the line with Ernestine and Julia and Ophelia, and we just talked for like 4 hours. We were just talking about Phil. And when I got off that call, I just felt so relieved. It was like I had somebody to discuss her with. I had somebody to pour out. And that was part of my healing process. So I just want to encourage you guys. This is not over. This is not the end. Death is just the end of life, but it's part of life. That's the journey that we're on. We're all getting there. It's just part of the journey, you know. And as we get older, this is going to be our new reality. You know, I looked at my face of my phone the other day, and there she was. She's one of those pictures on the first on my phone page, and I couldn't believe it. But that's just going to be life. We're just going to continue this journey, and we're going to keep jumping off, and that's part of it, you know. But let it not be the end, and let it not eat us up. Let us realize that that's the beauty of Christianity, right? We believe that there is life after death, and one day we're going to see Phil again. One day we're going to rejoice with her. One day we're going to have that fellowship with her again. So let's keep her memories alive. And as we go through this mourning period, let's encourage each other. Let's try to think about our lives and how we can straighten our lives so that when our time comes, we can know that we are going to be in heaven with her. You know, whatever things that we need to fix in our lives right now. If we need to forgive people, let's get on this forgiving journey. I always say forgiveness is not for that person. Forgiveness is for yourself, because when you forgive, you open yourself up for God to bless you. But when you keep holding on to things that people do to you, you don't have space for God to bless you. You're holding on to all these horrible things that people have done to you. Learn to let go. Let us learn to love. I mean, I said life is short. We don't have a whole lot of time here. Instead of focusing on the negative and focusing on the hate and all the other things that we're doing, let's focus on positive things. How can I make an impact on someone else's life? How can I forgive that person that hurt me and has not come back to me to tell me I'm sorry? How can I let it go? Ask God, and let's take this opportunity to draw closer to God, because that's how we will see Phil again. I know she was in a good place when she died. You know, she knew God. She was a praying person. The last picture that Al showed of him and her was in the church, and she had her hand praising God. That's how she exited. So we know that she's in a good place, and I want you who are here now to be in a good place when you die. Okay, because that's we can either go and see our maker, or we can go and see whoever, Satan. And I know I don't want to be there with him. I want to be with God. So I want to encourage you guys, just keep a light spirit, forgive each other, love. That will be Phil's way. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
I have a little bit of a layered approach. I want to start by saying, ladies, do your monthly checks. Phil did hers, and that's how she was able to fight. Ladies, do your monthly checks. Nowadays, it's not all about genetics. Do your monthly checks. And lead with faith and get the care. I know we are in a season of influx healthcare. If you're in the greater Houston area, the Rose provides service for women who are underinsured or lack healthcare resources or don't have insurance at all. The Rose is a great resource. I know many women who utilize the Rose. I know the Rose has helped save many people's lives. Phil did her check, and that's how we were able to hang on to her for another 5 years. That's one layer I want to lead with. I'm going to start with her family, her immediate family. We love you. Thank you for sharing so much of your mom with the world. Y'all shared, your entire lives were shared with us. Whether it was a moment, whether if it was on a regular basis, you all shared your mom with so many through your entire life. Al, thank you for loving Phil like, oh my goodness, man loves his wife. For being an amazing husband to your wife. For being an example. Your sons have a great example to follow. Your daughters have a great example of what a husband, the epitome of what that means for a man to love his wife. Thank you. We are praying for all of your support, your strength through this process. Please take care of yourselves through this process. So many people love your mom, but I also, you all have heard me say this, I would like for y'all to make sure you're allowing yourselves with some boundaries, because so many loved her. We want to pour into y'all, the community, far and near, the visits. People want to pour in and just offer love, comfort, company, laugh, cry. But please take care of yourselves. To the Liberian Association of Greater Houston, for those who have reached out to me, for those who are continuing to post, Phil had a significant impact in this community. Houston, the greater Houston area, Phil had a significant impact. We are all grieving right now. And I pray for you all and your strength within our community. To Phil's siblings, I'm sorry I went out of order. To Phil's siblings, to her older siblings, her younger siblings, for those that became her siblings. May peace be with your hearts. However, whether you're a blood sibling or in spirit through God, may comfort cover you. May comfort push you through this process. So many people are just in so much shock. To be expected. My cousin Phil, my sister, She had an amazing presence. Her presence was enormous, like her big hair I always talked about. As you all go through this, please find comfort in each other, find joy in the memories, but please do not forget her family. As we all go through our pain of this loss, please do not forget her children, her husband, her grandchildren, her mom, her sister, her brother. She has siblings. She has a family. Don't forget them in this process as we go through our grieving. Phil means so much to so many in so many different ways. However, she touched you. She did something in silence. She did something without recognition. That's what it was about. You don't always need the recognition to have a good heart and to share with others. Just pray for peace, love, and comfort for everyone through this process. Thank you all for joining today. There's just so many people watching, or maybe even will come and watch. But thank you all for sharing this moment with us. And I yield my time with this show. And thank you all for pulling it together and pulling us all together. You're on mute, Rufus.
For my name, I would love to say, Mistress PHILETTA Tanti Phillips, you will always be remembered in our hearts. Those memories of yours will continue to live on. You fought a good fight. You ran the race. Take your rest, Mama. Till we meet again. Let me say to you, my mentor, my senior brother, Isaiah 60, verse 22 says, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. Take heart. Just can't ask God why. God will be your strength during these times. And I say to you, the children, it's so hard to say goodbye. But remain strong. All I can say to all of us, let us get closer in knowing God for ourselves. No one is promised tomorrow. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for the patience. Indeed, she lived a life that touched each and every soul that came across her, directly or indirectly. Thank you so much.
In case you have fallen by the wayside of life, dreams and visions shattered, you're all broken inside. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. The Potter wants to put you back together again. Oh, the Potter wants to put you back together again. In case your situation has turned upside down, And all that you accomplished is now on the ground. You don't have to stay in the shade to me. The Father wants to put you back together again. Oh, the Father wants to put you back together again.